Hey everybody, Divisive Legend here. So, today I'm going to talk about something that's going to get me called an Uncle Tom, going to get me called a racist, and every other name in the book. Unless the person who actually watches this pays attention and actually listens with an open mind or already knows what I'm about to say. But today I'm going to talk about slavery and the history with it. The African slave trade was going on before the transatlantic slave trade. The transatlantic slave trade is the slave trade that we are all familiar with in the United States of African American slavery. What they do not teach in our schools, however, and what people don't seem to want to realize and or admit, is Africa had just as big of a role, if not bigger, than the whites did in the transatlantic slave trade. The African slave trade had been going on for centuries prior to this. During the slave trade, they were invading other cultures of Africa, they were killing their own people, and they were taking the people as slaves, and then they would sell the slaves to trade. It was one of their main sources of trade. Now, as time went on, the plantations became much more prevalent because it was for agricultural reasons. When that became more popularized, then more Africans were being sold. That's what led to Africans being the largest population of slaves in the world. Then you go to when the Europeans got involved. This, if I remember, was around the 1600s, I'm assuming, somewhere around that area. The 1600s. This had already been going on. It might have been before, might have been after, but it had already been going on before that. They even bought their first slave. And the thing that bothers me the most is that this is not taught in schools. This is not being taught, and people want to overlook this. That is not fair. It is not fair to the whites, and it is not fair to the people who were initially taken over here as slaves. It is not fair to the people who were sold out or enslaved by the African slave trade. It is not fair to the people who are still slaves that are being sold as part of the African slave trade, because if you actually look into what Africa's doing, they're still selling their own people as slaves. They're still taking part in this shit. This is still going on, and nobody talks about this. So, my whole thing about it is, let it go. I'm sorry. Let it go. Because I don't feel that the white people who are alive now should be punished for something that we'll even play devil's advocate and say it was whites that were 100% responsible. Even if that were the case, I don't think it's fair that we label somebody as racist and that we treat somebody a certain way because of something that their ancestors did hundreds of years ago. So, with that being said, Divisive Legend out. Peace.